Architects of our digital world, stop. Be better. Because we can be. And we can see that these systems have been designed with intricacy, so that companies can keep our attention indefinitely. I don't want to keep crushing these freaking candies. I don't want these alerts to completely command me. I don't care if that panda bear is dancing. Well, maybe. With a hula hoop. Okay, this is fantastic. I have to share this with my 10 friends and 10,000 strangers. Caption, who wants to throw a panda rager? Great, let me go back about my life. For God's sakes, I'm trying to right swipe my wife. Huh. 30 seconds and just 2 Facebook likes. Or is that just 2 for which I've been notified? Let me go back and check inside and see whose likes I tried to hide. They don't show them all, I wonder why. This panda's dancing. And another video plays after automatically. This one of a gopher that stage turns dramatically. It's like my attention is kept systematically raptured by algorithms that know exactly what I want. Or not what I want, just what I'll watch. And the people behind this intelligent design genuinely want to better our lives. But their bonuses just so happen to be tied to keeping time on site exceptionally high. And now even my news apps have been gamified, and what am I, not gonna click that one simple sex tip guaranteed to blow her mind? Wait, where was I, and why have I forgotten to look for that thing I'm supposed to find? And my God, look at the time. It is shocking. But somehow, yes, Netflix, I am still watching. And I know. I should have more self-control. But just to be clear, you just spent $1 million telling me this story designed to cut off at the end, leaving me wanting more. See, of course I want to see what you have in store. See my cursor already waiting there on the screen floor as you tease the next hour in all of its glory. And you'll give it to me, unless I actively abort. See, it seems the decision's already made for me. The countdown clock's moving. There it goes. 5, 4, 3. I need to sleep. But you made me want this more. This is not what I consciously signed up for when I hit play on one episode 6 hours ago. Architects of our digital world, you have more data, information, and control over our attention, the tools to tweak our emotions so we'll return to your experience. But is that what you should do? Or should you build digital tools so advanced they can actually enhance the world outside the device in our hands? Can you add so much value that it lets us put our phones back in our pants as fast as we possibly can? Not time-sucking, time-giving innovation. That's what it means to be truly technologically advanced. The future is not all screens. It's humanity enhanced.
Just wanted to play that video from time. You guys come on and have a seat. From time well spent, yeah. You can sit by you. There you go. Right on.
I'm not Rowdy.
Well, some days you are. And I'm Klemens, so. Okay, so, yeah. So let's talk about, with our fun mic situation, let's talk about IA for Good and what it means to you guys. And, you know, what the world needs now from IA. Andrew, you want to kick us off? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you're the moderator.
No, I'm just saying. What do you feel like the world needs now for information?
This is not, is it on?
It is on.
It's hard to tell when you're sitting here that it's on. How about this? Is this cool? Does this help? Sorry, these are really loud. Okay, thanks, Rebecca. This is me saying nonsense things until I can think of something to say. Because that's a pretty broad question. I was kind of hoping for like a really narrow question. So I think there's a lot to think about here. Sorry, stalling. No, I'm good. I really am, I promise. What's been on my mind a lot lately is, and this isn't a shameless plug for my book, but maybe it is, but in writing the book that came out a couple years ago, one of the things that really amazed me doing research for that was learning to what degree we as individual human beings do not have very much control over our own decisions, our own actions, our own behaviors, how our environment has so much influence on us, to the point where it's a little scary because we like to think we have agency and that there's sort of a boundary around us where we decide who we are and what we do and what we believe. Lately I've just been really preoccupied with the idea that as designers, as information architects in particular, because architecture is a lot about the environmental structures and rules that drive a lot of these interactions that we have. Are we really in touch with what it really means to be human-centered? Have we gotten away from that in all of our customer-focused, engagement-focused, let's get more clicks, let's get more engagement, engagement. I'm so sick of that word because it's a nothing word, right? It doesn't really mean anything. And then if we say IA for good, are we even somewhere in the ballpark together on what we mean when we say that we're good? Because lately I've been a little worried about there being some big differences in terms of what people think good means. So that's a couple thoughts to toss into the ring.
You guys hear me? I should have done intros, by the way. So at the end, we have Klemens Wengert. He works at Ionic Security. He's the other co-chair of this today. And then we have Andrew Hinton, who is a lead IA and designer at State Farm. We have Rowdy, who's from Cricket Wireless. We have Jen Bonnett, and she's from the ATDC, which is the Atlanta Technology Development Center. Advanced Technology Development. Advanced. Not Atlanta. Serve the state. Okay, straight now. But anyway, that's who our panelists are. You guys can look at them more online. You can see the whole bios and all if you want to dig there. But
I want to riff a little bit on what you said here before about the idea of what is good, because so often when we talk about good, it comes down to seeing sort of a tree of requirements, and those requirements usually map up to some sort of business value that we're creating for, right? And at the end of the day, good for the corporation, good for the people, good for the individuals who are using it are not the same thing. And when you apply stakeholder theory to this kind of stuff, we don't end up in the right place all the time. The question is, how do you bring back that conversation of what do those people really need, the actual users of all of this, and what do they not need? I think it was Nielsen who said the hardest part about product design is not what to put in, it's what not to put in. And there's a lot of dynamics going on there. So I feel you on this section of what does good mean? Well, good for whom, I guess, is the question, right?
Yeah, I think I just want to add to the whole environment concept that you kind of mentioned. So we're so controlled by our environment to make those decisions, but I think, like if you take a website, for example, that environment is, to your point, Klemens, the company that's trying to sell you the product. So they put you in exactly where they want. And I mean, I think it's our job to provide, a malleable experience that allows people to know, like, what's their needs, what's their wants, and allow them a safe way to get there. But unfortunately, those business needs and those business metrics that are kind of tailored to the funnel that we're pushing them through, they're the main highway. We have to kind of add to that. So I think your question about if it's good, I think we have to find where the good is, because unfortunately we're stationed with business requirements, we're stationed with the way we're run for success on metrics and whatnot to have a superior cost structure and have a better business. We're a third or fourth or fifth priority, and so I think the fight is to get closer to good.
I mean, that said, we all still want to get paid, right? So corporations have to make money, we all have to get paid, so there's that dichotomy is obviously in there, the economic theory of it all.
So, I work with startups, so my startups need your talent. They can't afford to pay for most of your talent. But I do think that you could position yourself with a company whose entire mission is doing good. I kind of expected to see a friend of mine here today, and she's not here, but you probably all know her, Stacy Sutton, recently left the agency world and came to work for one of our startups. She's working right now with Clean Hands, Safe Hands, and she's their chief marketing officer, and she's made this transition. Clean Hands, Safe Hands is a startup that's trying to solve the issue of hospital-borne illness. Right, so 90% of patients that go into a hospital and have a stay more than 24 hours actually end up with a very serious illness that was actually they got because they were physically in that hospital. And so how do you stop that, right? And that's what this company is trying to solve, right? So I think there is a way to try and, by who you choose to work for, with, maybe that's how you have your impact, whether it's your full-time job or whether it's a side project, a side hustle that you decide to partner with. You can have an impact, and you can do good through this by choosing a company that maybe has vision, mission aligned with something that it's important to you.
So Jen, from the startup incubator world, when people talk about, because I know, this is kind of a different environment, right? But so how do they think of information architecture and visual and UX interaction design? Like how are people in that world really looking at that these days?
So I jokingly said nobody can afford to pay you. It's probably right, or not at the first stage. The way I look at it today is it's actually one of the most important things, right? It used to be that you could put an ugly website, an ugly app out in the world, and if it was okay, if it solved a problem, people would use it, right? Today, if you get it wrong on the first try, it's over. Nobody's ever coming back, right? And so it's so important, right, to get the information architecture down. You can't have 400 pages on your website or 400 tabs. They all want this huge system, right? But when you launch an app, 90% of your time is spent on one screen, one page on an app, right? So you better get that right. You better not overwhelm them. You better make sure you do it right. Otherwise, they're gone. You have one chance.
Yeah. So for the other panelists too, and I'm going to try to talk in this mic. So going forward and kind of looking at the future, what are you guys thinking are the big disruptors that are out there? What are you thinking that is really going to make a difference to interaction or the value for that time on screen or that value of the interaction? Because I know a lot of companies are, yes, engagement. I remember a few years ago I used that like Pee-wee's Playhouse, like the hidden word of the day, and every time somebody said it, we started to scream, and it was kind of fun. But now that word would be value, right? You keep hearing people say over and over. So value to the interaction that's and with disruption coming, because we've seen so much of it in the last few years. Can you guys talk about that perspective?
Yeah, so I'll try to tackle it first. So I think one of the big things, and we had a different engagement about 3 weeks ago that this kind of came up. So to me, from a disruption standpoint, I think as much as we have machine learning and AI coming to the forefront, that poses a large potential for disruption. So if you put someone through an IVR on a phone and they're investing time to answer the one-off, decision support tool questions, and they still get pushed to a human being at the end, they've invested something that they expect you to invest. And now I've extrapolated the bad experience. So I'm thinking beyond just the screen there for that one. But I think relying so heavily on the AI and a little bit of the machine learning, it gives us, to your point, the fact if we do it wrong the first time there, it's even worse. Like if we create an app that allows someone to, and I'm going to go back to the State Farm days with you a little bit here, Andrew, is if I allow someone to start their claim on their car on their phone, which is normally something they might not do, they've invested something that they anticipate they pay a premium for us to do, and if we don't do that perfect, we're in a lot of strain.